Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. This is the May 18th regular meeting of the Darien Parks and Recreation Commission. And our first order of business is the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which is April 20th. Does anybody have any corrections or changes?
I don't know, in the minutes, are we supposed to write the abstentions? Because there were 2 abstentions for that vote.
I think, shouldn't it be in the voting chart?
Or it should be in the voting chart.
It doesn't have to be in the minutes, I wasn't sure.
The voting chart is typically attached to the minutes, and that's how it was done previously, but it might just be a change from Jamie.
No, these voting records are right here.
No, but it wasn't attached as a document with the minutes that's filed.
But it came in the packet.
It came with the packet, yes, absolutely.
Is it recorded?
But she's just asking if it's recorded and available to others.
To see who abstained.
It is available at our desk in our office.
Okay.
But I think
the originals are held in our office, so anybody can come and look at them.
No, but I think the question is, we used to be just attaching it to the minutes.
So that was a part of the
So when the
public
minutes
record.
get put online,
Yeah.
this should be attached.
Okay.
I think it's just this much
Right.
because.
Sure.
And also,
No, Jamie did this.
Yeah.
This is her last
Oh,
one.
yeah.
This
She's
is
on
her
her way
last
out.
one. She's on her way out. Still gonna blame her.
Yeah, because in the motions, it says either the motion, in one case she said the motion passed unanimous, and then in the other case she said the motion passed, which would apply because it said unanimous in the other case.
no, it's just,
But
I
it
think,
wasn't,
there
but-
was reasons for abstention, so that's why.
Right.
I think if maybe we can put, there's very few, I'm probably one of the few people that have ever abstained from a vote like
Right.
that. So I'd like it, in the minutes if it can be in the future.
That seems fair.
I think that's fair, and I think it's the right way to do it.
So there were 2 people, I think it was me and, was it Amy? I think? Was
Yeah,
Amy,
yes.
Amy Duran,
Yes.
were both abstentions, so if you don't mind making the correction in the minutes. The other change I had was about the Eagle Scout project. Darien Book 8, it's without an E, no E.
Where's that? Which one?
The second page above that, no E in Book 8.
Eagle Scout.
Yeah, see it says Book 8, Darien Book 8 doesn't have an E at the end of 8. There are a couple other things, but I didn't report on the chairman's report, so on page 5, so if you change that to Ms. Bora instead of Ms. Daly. I didn't report about Mr. Dan Biggs' Army Corps of Engineer report,
Oh, right. I even missed that.
I just was like, wow, it's under the chairman's report. Why would I have spoken during the chairman's report?
You know what, I bet she copied forward from March when I wasn't here and you gave it on my behalf.
Maybe that's
If I
exactly
had
the problem
to
that happened.
guess.
How come I don't see that?
It's on the chairman's report
here,
on page
I know.
5.
Last
Under.
page.
It says Ms.
because I'm
Daly.
looking at something different apparently.
I talked a lot about it during Weed Beach,
This
the
is-
meeting, but
You have the wrong minutes.
yeah, it says April 20th.
April 20th.
Yeah, on the bottom.
But can
Page
we
5.
go back to that voting issue for a moment? Because if you look at the chart,
Yeah, but the
So-
chart's not included in the public record.
but separate from that,
The
if you look
chart's
at,
wrong.
I think the chart's, yes, that's where I
Oh, the chart is wrong. I didn't
Chart's
look at
wrong.
I didn't print it out. That's
Oh,
why.
the chart is wrong.
So I'm trying to save paper.
Because it
Save time.
has, other than Sarah who was absent, it has everybody voting yes on everything.
Except, yeah.
And these
Well,
should,
Amy was abstained, but you don't have Susan,
Abstain too.
I don't see that. Oh, I do see it. Yep, there it is. Okay, but it would have Susan abstaining. Okay.
But we could put it in, if you don't mind putting it in the public, in the-
Oh, no, I agree on that. I was just saying that I remember that you abstained, but it said why, so that's why it was
And which number did she abstain?
4.
4.
Oh, see, that would make it really hard to figure out too. Like
Yeah.
you would have to know what motions were
Exactly.
what, and so it's clearer
Right.
to put it in the minutes. Thank you.
Okay.
Those were my, I just came, sorry. Busy
Okay.
week.
The only thing I picked up, and again, I think this was a roll forward issue at the very end. I can give you this if you don't have it. It says next regular meeting, April 20th, 2022, 7:30, room 119, but that's tonight. So this should say next regular meeting is May 18th.
And look. So
I have what,
Isn't that?
That's a different report, no.
I have the same one you do,
I
Lori.
have the
library.
same one Lori does.
Me too. I think you guys you might have given us the wrong version, but
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I
But I have the same one you have, which
Yeah,
is the
but I
wrong
think
date.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's the one you sent out. We all have the one that you sent out.
transitions are.
And you're not the dairy line. That's weird.
Isn't it weird? It says, mine says Miss Flora. It doesn't say your name. That's why I was like, which page are you on?
No, because we got this was the one we got
But
from you
these
that
are
I
really
printed.
different.
I think we have to go to the one that was sent to us.
Well, it depends on which one I guess was given to the front desk, the original.
Right.
So I just printed those out
Like,
today.
like here, my Pam's director's report is this big. And here it's like this big. And
Ours says
my
draft, by the
chairman's
way.
report's
Ours
different.
is overlaid with a
Mine
draft.
is too.
Oh, it is? Oh, then I don't know what to tell you. No, we got sent, that was the one that you sent, that's what, the one I usually print.
Yeah, we all have the same one.
I say we don't vote on them until I figure out which one is
right.
correct.
Yeah, like this one has next meeting April 20th, but the one Pam has the next meeting May
Yeah,
18th.
I agree.
Yeah, resend them to
I'm
us.
not crazy.
Okay, resend
And
them to us.
that's why she was looking
with-
at me going.
Can you resend them to us with our changes tonight, so then we don't have to see it again? And then if there are changes the next time, we will read them and figure it out for next time. How's that?
Pam, do you
Take
want
the
to
changes we
take?
told you already.
Truthfully, I couldn't follow what you were saying because of my.
I'll give you my copy if you want
Okay.
it.
I was gonna say, do you want to take my copy?
Anybody.
Yes.
But that way you
take
have it.
I don't have,
And I'll
Okay.
send you my one.
So there is no.
here, I'll give you my paper
Because
clip.
I won't be doing it tonight, Susan. I won't be doing it tonight. I left my house at 6:30 this morning.
Okay, got
I won't
it.
be home till late. Exactly. Tomorrow.
Okay, so this is the version that came to the commission.
Thank you.
Okay, which I was happy with other than the date, but now you're like winging this whole other thing at me, so
All right.
I think we want to make sure that all the detail is there. Okay, sorry to have confusion this evening. We're usually much more organized, but the individual who usually does the minutes for us left, as you all know,
It's no longer with us.
is no longer with the department, so I think that is the confusion. Okay, next on the agenda, so we will hold that, and then next month we will do both the April and the May minutes. Okay, next is public comment. Do we have anybody who would like to speak this evening? Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
State your name for the record, please.
Cheryl Russell, RTM member of Park and Rec Committee. I had sent Pam an email the other day and asked if I could bring this up at your commission meeting under public comment, and she said I could. So I was approached by two different constituents. One was asking for the swings at McLawn not to have the baby swing in front of it and have older swings be put up there, and Pam said that one is there. And when we redo, and I said when we redo Park McLawn, new playground, we will probably add more, and she agreed with me.
Right, and I have already, prior to you emailing me, had asked
Right.
Sandy to remove one because there is no belt swing there. It's just the toddler
That's
one. So
right.
I had already asked him to take one down and bring it to Cherry and only have one there and a belt swing at McGuan.
Right, so there is one at McLawn now.
Not yet.
Oh,
I had already asked him for it. I don't know if he did it yet. He might have done it
Someone
already.
there yesterday.
Okay, so maybe he already did the
Maybe he
switch.
did.
Yep.
Okay, and the other one approached me about the park at Hecker Avenue between Hecker and the town hall, and said that she goes over there with her 3 children, and in order to get to the other side of the park, there's no bridge. So they have to go out on Hecker and up the street, and there's no sidewalk there on Hecker at that area when you come through the woods and then go up the street towards the cemetery. So she asked if I would mention or find out about getting a bridge put over there. I think it's a great idea because it makes the park more user-friendly to everybody, because then they can cross without having to go into the street. However, that's a flood area over there, and if we put a bridge in there, I don't know where the bridge is going to end up when the flood comes. So I didn't mention this to the girl, but I said I would just bring it up at the commission meeting, and maybe in the long run, maybe we can figure out some kind of a bridge, the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, or somebody might want to.
So which bridge, I'm sorry, I walk around there all the time. So you mean where the fields are to go over
Yeah.
to like Town Hall?
No, coming into the park from Holohan Field,
Yeah.
and then over in that neck of the area.
Go to the outfield.
To the other side, right, so that you can utilize both sides of that park.
Because right now the parking lot's between it?
No, I'm not.
I'm so confused,
I have
I'm
to
sorry.
walk over there with her. I just saw her when I got home the other day, and she mentioned it to me, and I said, yeah, I'm coming to the meeting. So I think we can do a little
Because I walk there a
walk
lot.
through and see where exactly she's talking about, how to get them off Hecker Avenue, because there is no sidewalk. And
Well, there's
it's-
there's a sidewalk on Hecker Avenue. You have to cross the street into the woods, and then you're behind Town Hall, kind of, you know, the spot that the town bought. And then there's the field, and then you're in the parking lot with the road, and then you kind of go around, and then you're
No,
back.
you're not, I'm not talking about going around Renshaw Road to the other side. I'm talking about being on the side by Holohan Field, going in that way. There's a path there, and it's by Cherry Street.
Yeah, I know it is.
Okay, and then you come out onto Hecker Avenue. There's no sidewalk there. I just stopped and looked. There's no sidewalk there unless it's under the
Well, there's sidewalk on the other side.
on the
Hecker
other
has on the
side.
other
So with
side.
3 kids with bicycles and whatever, you should have crossed the street and then cross back again to get back towards the cemetery side and then go through. I mean, it's kind of convoluted.
Yeah, I know, I walk my dog there every day.
So I think that maybe in the long run, we could think of something.
Okay.
And then I do have one other thing that I wanted to bring up that I didn't put on my report, but I thought about it afterwards, Pam. At your last meeting, I hate to use the word, but you talked a lot about the dogs in the parks, and you had mentioned that you were going to put more signage up to try and alleviate some of the problems that you're having in the parks with the dogs. So I'm here tonight to request that when you make more signage about dogs, that you put 3 new signs up at Pear Tree Point. One on the gate over by the picnic area, one more on the sand at the front beach, or the, where's that down? West Beach?
South Beach.
South Beach, and one on the West Beach, because there's nothing over there. Because there's always been an issue, it continues to be an issue, and if you're going to have signs, it would be nice to have signs that say, no dogs allowed all year long. Because they're not. And they're there. And here comes summer. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other public comment? No? Patty, everybody, Kim? Everybody's good? And agenda back?
Oh, I'm just texting her.
I texted her too.
Okay, are you ready to go to the Girl Scout?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're ready, are you introducing them?
Okay, well, the next item on the agenda is Girl Scout Troop 50152. They're 6th grade students at Middlesex Middle School, and they're going to be here to talk about their Storywalk project, which they did very successfully previously, and we did an awesome job. So we came here to hear what you have planned for this time.
What would you like us?
I guess we're right here in front, maybe. It'll be easier. As long as you can get the camera on, you guys.
Hi, my name is Sarah Lugalai. Thank you so much for having us. We are going to talk about, the girls are going to talk about our idea for a story walk in Woodland Park. This is a take action project for our outdoor journey, which will be completed before we are eligible to work on earning our Silver Award, which is one of the highest awards to be earned in Girl Scouts. The troop members are going to tell you about the plans, and then we can answer any questions when they're done.
The Darien Girl Scout Troop 50152 6th grade students at Middlesex Middle School would like to do a storywalk. A storywalk is where pages of picture books are attached to wooden stakes along a path or trail, and families are encouraged to walk and read together. It is a way to enjoy quality literature outside. And this wonderful combination of literature and nature was created by Anne Ferguson, a librarian in Vermont. Her goal was to give experiences with literature to children while connecting with people they know and having physical activities surrounded by nature.
One of our troop members had come across a Storywalk in Maine. She and her family noticed that along with the book pages, there was also questions and activities that encouraged comprehension and movement that they also found educational and fun. After the walk experience, we thought Darien residents would have benefit and enjoy a Storywalk. Because of COVID-19, most of us had forgotten the pleasure of nature and outdoors. Instead, we are glued to our laptops, smartphones, and iPads, sitting on our couches for hours without any physical movement.
Creating a story walk will encourage children and families of all ages to come outside for a walk and enjoy a book as they do. This will also allow families to reconnect. As COVID has separated us with screens, after more than 2 years of talking to each other through text or Zoom or FaceTime, we have forgotten how to talk to each other in person. Making a story walk brings kids together with their families and gives them time to talk to their families and create bonds. While having a fun time exploring the outdoors on a story walk, children will connect with those who care for them.
In last year's Story Walk, we received so many pictures of young children enjoying their walk. Clearly, Woodland Park is a favorite place for many families to visit. They spent many hours walking, exploring, and running through trails. The girls in our troop want to encourage others to explore and enjoy Woodland, bringing back the wonderful experience to everyone. Our chosen book, Shivari Tries, by Gina Corwell, is a beautiful story about a boy and his little sister who try to make a flying machine. This book is about grit, hard work, determination, including others, and most importantly, never giving up. It teaches kids important lessons, inspiring them to keep on trying. Our first choice for placement on this light trail, a 0.4-mile trail which loops around to the end of a giant maple tree. Walking slowly, it took our troop 10 minutes to walk the path. It's an ideal length and it's short enough for young kids to do, but long enough so older children will also cherish our story walk.
We will place laminated story pages on cardstock and mount on wood stakes using heavy-duty Velcro. It will take approximately 23 stakes, including the title and final feedback stake for our book. The stakes will be placed just to the side of the trail, so it is easy to read while walking through, but does not block any part of the trail. We would install as soon as possible after approval and allow as much time for families to enjoy the story walk before the weather gets too hot. After installation, the girls will take turns walking the path weekly to check for any signs of wear and tear and will replace anything necessary.
We will purchase 3 copies of the book from Bear Bookstore. 2 will be used to make the story walk, and the 3rd will be kept in case any pages will need to be replaced. We learned from our research that a story walk must use the original pages of the book in order to avoid any copyright infringements. The first stake of our story walk will introduce the book as well as any as well as Vermont and develop in collaboration of the Kellogg Hubbard Library. Storywalk is a registered service marked and owned by Miss Ferguson.
We think the walk will appeal to families of all ages, but we are especially highlighting it for preschool and elementary school audiences. Our trip will write a letter to Darien newspaper and make flyers to advertise our story walks. As a preschool teacher at Toronto Presbyterian Nursery School, my mom can spread the word at her school and share it with other preschools in town. Our troop members are also reaching out to Daisy and Brady troops, kindergarten, first, second, and third graders in town to encourage them to visit. At the end of June, the members of our troop will remove the post and make sure the ground is filled with dirt again and it is safe.
Perfect, thank you. Commission members, questions?
I think you guys covered almost everything you did. You guys did an amazing job. I wish I had your poise at that age. You guys are amazing. We probably can help with some of the social media support
Yes.
for it.
Yes. Our department, the Parks and Recreation Department, can put a blast out. We have a large database to share the project, so people enjoy it.
They created some artwork. I sent you one, and then there was another one that finished up after I emailed you. So I can provide you with
Yes.
the things that they
That'd be great.
Okay, perfect.
I have a question. Are they not, how is it, how do you know where to start? Are the stakes numbered? Or is it
The
obvious?
first post is at the entrance, and then it's like you can clearly see the next post.
Okay.
Yeah, like it goes on.
And we
Okay.
might add some arrows because the
Yeah.
trail isn't greatly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little
arrows,
twisty turn.
but I think we can try to find something.
Right, we learned a little bit from the first time we did it.
That's what I was going to
So,
ask.
Yeah, so Eleanor, you want to explain the arrow thing? Well, okay, so we know all of them were numbered the first time around. But we did find, as Eleanor started to say, that some of the beds and stuff weren't as clearly labeled on the white trail. So we ended up going back in and adding some arrows after we first installed. So this time around, we'll know where to do the arrows.
Can I ask, did you do it in Woodland last time, or did you do it in Cherry Lawn at present?
We did it in Woodland.
Oh,
We're gonna probably do the same.
And as someone who lives near Woodland, it was loved last time. There were so many people there. Everyone enjoyed it, and so many kids. It was wonderful to see. And so even if they get lost, I like the fact they get lost in the park.
They created a QR code, a little scan, which led to a Google form response. And do you guys remember some of the feedback?
Yeah, it was like we sort of asked them what we should do to improve it for next year's Story Walk. And we got some feedback like make it a little bit of a longer trail, I think I remember.
Yeah.
And then we got some of book recommendations. And yeah, that's all I can remember.
It was all pretty positive. I think the only feedback that we got was that they wanted it to keep going.
How did you guys choose that book? It sounds amazing.
We picked like a lot of books from like the preschool to like kindergarten area, and we just read them. Like we brought a selection to Woodland Park one day, and we just read them all. And we like thought about which one had the best message for a kid, which one is the most kid friendly, which one will they understand the most.
And also,
And then we
and also,
choose it from there.
and also which one would be fun to like keep going.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great way to figure it out. I'm impressed. Thank you.
And the posts that are those the same ones you used last time? Are
So
they
we have some
reusable?
of the same posts that we were able to save. What we did last time was we used a stable gun. We found that allowed too much water to come in, so another suggestion for other story walks is a really heavy duty Velcro.
Velcro, okay.
I like on the back.
Terrific.
Great. So it sounds like you guys learned things last time, I can apply them to improve it going forward.
So tell me again how long it will be up?
Until the end of June.
And it's just for the month of June?
Yes.
We're gonna try to put it up as soon as possible and then take it down.
Do you need a date do you need to give them a date to set it up, or can they do it anytime?
No, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it need to come down at a particular time, or you just want to limit it to
So that's a good one.
maintenance?
So last year, okay, last year we found that after about a month, we were replacing the, we had replaced a couple of the stakes and the laminated pages. So about a month was what we found like the weather could handle.
And also, we don't want it to get too boring.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be like up for too long, so then like people could just like start ignoring it. Like a month was like long enough.
Mostly everybody can come visit.
So that it's special, so that it's
Yeah.
something that's there for only a
It's
defined period of
something
time,
that
so that when
people
people look forward to it,
Yeah,
you
the
can do it
next
again
year.
next year.
Yes.
There you go.
Impressive, you all have your own marketing feedback loop already.
I want to sing the praises of this particular troop. I'm Willow Buscemi, and I'm the service unit manager, one of them, for Darien Girl Scouts. And 6th grade is a really important year for Girl Scouts because it's kind of a time where you decide, oh, I've been a Girl Scout and I had that experience in elementary school, or you decide, I'm going for the higher awards and I love Girl Scouts and I'm going to continue. So this is a troop now made up of the girls from Holmes that did the Storywalk last year, and the girls from Henley, and the girls from Royal. And so they're making new friends and new connections. And to me, one of the coolest part of Girl Scouts is the chance to be leaders and have a voice. And coming to things like this is a huge, huge benefit to us.
I think I'm a former Girl Scout Council Board Chair, and you're right. Now we have quite a few Boy Scouts come to see us, and we don't have the Girl Scouts as often, and I've always hoped we would have more. So thrilled to have you guys, and you're right, it's a great development and leadership opportunity.
We have over 400 Girl Scouts in town.
That's great.
Wow, that's wonderful.
That's great. Okay, commission members, any other questions? I think we all love
Very
it.
well done.
Great job.
Great job.
We're
Do we
not
need
doing
a vote?
We don't, I think we already approved it last time, and I think it's not changing anything we've already previously done,
I
and
think-
we don't have to.
I think we're all thrilled
In
and
agreement.
Very impressive.
Yes.
go forward, and so you'll start installing in the next few days or week,
We
or
were aiming for Memorial Day weekend.
have it up for Memorial Day weekend?
We have to assemble our signs and what? And go to FedEx. And
yeah, do all the work.
Yes. Do the photocopying.
Okay, great.
Well, let us know when it's up,
Yeah,
so
that's
that we can
so-
publicize it and make sure you guys get credit for all your hard work. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One other thing I wanted to mention too, I think that our social media employee in town hall would like to know when you're going to start it. I bet she'd want to come out and maybe take a picture of you building it.
That's a good idea.
Marley Hayes, you know Marley? You know Marley. Yes.
Yeah,
Just
I think that'd be a great
There's
idea.
some good pictures. You take great photos. Willow's great at taking great
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're now, we have Marley, we should absolutely
Yeah.
take advantage of that.
Perfect.
Perfect, great. Okay, so we will move on to reports from the different working group committees. And playground is first. Who's going to cover? Susan, are you covering playground? Or?
Yeah, sure. I know that Pam included in the report that we're gonna meet again on the 19th, and we're gonna have game, it's tomorrow, oh my God. Game time, playground rep is gonna come and speak to our group about the different types of configurations. But at our last meeting, we actually talked a little bit about the different playgrounds in, town and what their needs are. We've been asking our members to do kind of some, market research for us with their kids, and I think the two parks that we covered were Baker, we talked about for a little bit, and about how that park was geared towards younger children, and that was interesting to talk a little bit about that, and that it's very shady There's some
Has
challenges
to
there.
make it natural.
We want to make it more natural because of that, and like, instead of fighting against that natural and the shadiness, we want to work with it. So we're looking at options that would be more natural for Baker.
Are you saying shady is a negative?
It's not negative, it's just that it tends to just look a little dark, like it doesn't have as much, like, it's so funny because like when you're in other parks where there's so much sunlight, you're like, I wish we had shade.
Right, that's
And
what
then
I was
at Baker,
wondering.
we have the opposite, but it also does do certain things to the equipment. It kind of, I think it makes it dark, makes everything look darker. And we just said that because it's so naturally already a natural environment, that having something that's not too plasticky and colorful,
Which it is now.
which is right now, might complement that space better. Okay. So we're going to look at those types of options. We also talked about McGuan and about the surfacing, and that was the big issue that we're talking about. And people said that they would go and research more of the different types of surfacing, and I think Pam gave some history about the ones that we already have there, and that I think we had something
Poured in place
already.
Yeah.
And we switched over to the tiles thinking that was going to be more resilient and replaceable, and then now we're like, oh no, now we got to go back and poured in place.
Well, the poured in place didn't work. There was a manufacturing problem.
Yeah. So the
and it was
technology
past
is
the
different,
warranty.
better now, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yes, I don't know, something happened with the manufacturer, the install of that. So it was installed wrong from what I can.
I know we went back and forth. I mean, I was on the commission when that happened, and I know we went back and forth for a while with them. And I think at the end, we were like, we're so done, and we're just gonna like replace what we can, and then we're probably gonna have to replace the whole thing at some point. So we talked a little bit about that. I don't think we didn't have as much time to talk about Cherry Lawn, if I remember correctly. Patty, you were there too.
Yeah, we decided, we covered so much, and we had Curtis there talking about ADA.
Which was really helpful, by the way.
So helpful.
That was really helpful.
What was great at Parks for his daughter, what made it easy to pull up in, and what was harder. He was excellent. So we really tried to focus on allowing him enough time, and then we said we talked about Cherry Lawn this next round.
Yeah, I thought so. That's what I thought too. That's why I said put it back on our agenda, because we have our game time rep, but then we're going to do a little bit more. I think Cherry Lawn's really need a lot more time than one session.
And we're also going to do a walking tour.
Yeah, we're going to do a walking tour at some point. But yeah, we're making some progress. I mean, we're going to get some ideas from the game time rep and hopefully start. I think our committee figured that we're going to focus primarily on McGuan first because of the poured and plate issue, like getting that fixed and addressed right away, and then kind of go to the other two locations after that.
And Susan, also, you mentioned, because there's so many new apartments coming in right off of the Federal Realty, and as Diane and Cheryl and all of them know, that's a highly used area anyways for young kids, and excuse me, with the sports and everything, it just makes sense to start there. It seems like the one.
And it makes sense to see if we can utilize as much of the area as possible, because there's so many more apartments right there.
Yeah. I think we're looking at expansion if we can.
That's what I was wondering.
And also we did, because pour and play is so expensive, if that becomes the case, we're probably just not going to have that material everywhere, because it just wouldn't be cost prohibitive. We could use our whole budget just on the servicing without doing anything on equipment. So we're going to have to think about it, like, and.
Should we be chatting with Federal Realty?
We have.
Yeah, I believe the conversation's happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's happened and it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a no.
They're focused on their development at this point.
Really?
So they're going to help fund some of the changes to the park, or no?
No.
That's very disappointing.
We could also revisit, Pam. I would never, maybe once we have a bit of plan that, and if we do need, I don't know, if we say that we're expanding it, maybe there'll be more buy-in. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't ever, I think that when they're looking at a small park, they might have a different idea than if we decide to kind of, we're anticipating people coming from your development, even people that don't live there, but that are visitors to the, like shopping, and they need to take the kid to the swings while they go shopping or something. It's a nice, amenity.
Maybe they'll even take over an element of it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I'm open to it. So I wouldn't say that's a hard no. I would consider revisiting it for sure.
I remember one of our tours when we were there, and I think there were some families, I don't think it was the last tour because it was
Yeah.
pouring buckets of rain. It was
Yeah.
probably 2 tours ago because I remember it was hot.
Right.
And families saying that there isn't enough shade there. It's the opposite. So are you guys thinking about any shade structures?
We haven't thought that far, but I remember they did plant
We
a bunch
just
of
planted
trees.
six
Trees,
trees.
some trees, I mean, they're just gonna take a while to grow.
Yeah.
But I think the issue with shade, with too much sun is the surfacing gets hot. So we have to be, so we talked about maybe the surfacing not being dark colored, because right now it's kind of dark, right?
It's black.
So it's a little dark. So I know that at Playground by the Sound, we used a lighter color to kind of offset that heat that might come from the surfacing. So, and maybe, you know, we'll have it to certain elements of the playground, and so it won't be that hot, hopefully. We'll figure it out. I mean, it's obviously a work in progress.
Yeah.
With a lot more to go, unfortunately. But it's exciting. We're very excited to, you know, make improvements for the town residents, so. To be determined.
Great. Yeah, that's really exciting.
And we have a
It's
meeting
good to have money
tomorrow
for it,
morning.
too. What?
And our next meeting's tomorrow morning.
I know, it's tomorrow morning.
It's the most fun one to be on.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, we gotta try all the equipment.
You don't think invasives are fun?
I can't unsee evasives. I was driving in New York City on the Merritt, and I was like, oh my God.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. Okay, so we'll report back about tomorrow's meeting, the next meeting. Thank you.
Invasives, Amy's not here. I guess I can cover it. So the committee has met, and one of the areas of focus has been the trees of heaven. And originally, we were aware of one in Cherry Lawn. However, the town staff member, whose name is Mike Staff.
He's a turf maintenance.
Right, knows how to identify Tree of Heaven, so he's gone to the various parks and tagged them all, and we have lots of them.
And what is the impact of having trees of heaven and not taking care
Spotted
of them?
lanternfly.
They host the spotted lanternfly, which is very problematic. It's coming to this country, it's coming up the East Coast, and has the potential to devastate numerous types of tree populations.
And they're fast growing too, so they not only, you know, once you have them, you have a ton of them. You know, there's not just one tree in the woods, there's usually a stand of them. When we did our project for the Scouts, there was one right in the middle of that memorial garden that just popped up that nobody had ever taken care of.
Right.
And just, they end up everywhere.
They end up everywhere, but there's a whole bunch of them here, which if you go down to the far end of the paved parking lot, they've got like pink tags on them, and there's like 26. Wow. There's a bunch at Pear Tree, which there's hardly any trees at Pear Tree.
I think we have 3.
But there's 3.
But they can be cut down, they're pretty.
No, they can be cut down, but we have to start, managing them, figuring out how we're going to address this, because, you know, we don't necessarily have a budget right now to take down, what's the total? It's over 30 trees?
30?
I think there's
That's
probably
it.
more.
So we're gonna have to start thinking about that, and you know what the time frame is and how we tackle it. And these apparently you have to get out the roots, you have to get out the stump, you have to get everything, or they just come back. So we'll be talking about that more, but also want to somewhat make sure that gets out in the public domain, because there is such sensitivity right now to cutting down trees. It's something we don't want to be doing, and I'm just concerned if the public sees us going in and taking down,
I'm surprised we haven't gotten any calls.
Yeah, people see the tags,
Well, not everybody knows what trees of heaven are.
Right, and that they're problematic,
They're all tagged.
What do they look like? I'm just curious.
There's a lot of lookalikes. There's also a fragrance to them.
Yeah, I'm not
French leaf, and the bark is really there's like little. It's not as like defined as the bark of like an oak tree or something. It's more flat. So.
Do they tend to have large chunks? Or
No, they tend to be little. They're not
huge trees.
They tend to be like, the trunks are not that big. I mean, they're not like oak trees. They don't live forever, I don't think. The ones I've seen are like 10 inches in diameter. But I'm not sure you need to grind them. I mean, I think from a standpoint of just cutting them right away, if we could have someone cut them and just, I don't think you need to stump grind all of them. I think that as soon as you cut them and you keep on cutting them back, they just exhaust them. It's like any other
Okay,
natural
so I was under the
thing.
impression we had to stump grind them or that they come back.
They're just so much easier to kind of keep on going at it once you cut them down, because then the little ones, you just keep on cutting them back and cutting them back. And I just would like to see, if as much as we can, just get rid of them so they
Yeah,
don't flower. Because the whole idea is that they start to flower and then they throw more seeds, and then the birds take them, or, they get spread by other pollination methods.
But
Or
Pam, can your
women.
staff do them, or are they
Well,
too big?
tomorrow Sandy and Mike will be on the call.
Okay.
At 4? Yeah, 4. And, realistically, we'll have to ask them, how much time and energy that would take away from their regular duties. And it certainly couldn't do it now. It would probably have to be in August or in the fall. So, and they have access to large equipment, but again, it comes down to how much, and Mike has got a lot of experience, so he probably would be able to speak to whether or not they need to remove the stumps or not in the roots. So
Is this just on park property? Like, is there any on town property that?
this is just park property. That's all that.
I'm guessing there's a ton on town property too.
Which ones are creating all the vines, the huge vines that are killing the trees at Cherry Lawn that we've spent time looking at?
Is that the biggest?
It's not Nile
Yeah, there's so many there.
Big thick vines that are going through there. Because that was, I remember that was a priority as we all walked around the invasives.
That would be my one question. What is the priority? Because we want to get rid of all the invasives, right?
Right, so that's what we have to start focusing on. We've had some focus on the tree of heaven because of this concern about the spotted lanternfly. If you read articles about it, they're like, if you see it, they're actually really pretty bugs if you see a picture of them, but they say if you see them, it's the articles that Laura Mosier forwarded, they said squish it, but then there's a website where you can report in because they want to keep track of where they're migrating to. But it's literally like, if you see one, please kill it. Get rid of these things. So I think that's the concern, but that's what we have to figure out, because we have lots of issues with the invasives. So, and we know we can't tackle all at once. So the committee's going to have to keep talking about how much of a priority this is.
Those are easy to identify too and fix, whereas when you're doing other invasive removal, you're doing a whole area and taking 20 different types of invasives. So it's different, so you don't have to prioritize the area, you prioritize the tree, so it's easier to find those,
Well, if they're fast growing, I would think that you would want to get dude stumps, because the fast growing you can't keep up with.
Well, I guess from the standpoint of it just costs a lot of money to remove stumps, and the timing to do it. It's just better to cut them. It's like any weed. As soon as you cut them and prevent them from regrowing and basically making new babies, that's the better. It can be when they cut down, there's nothing to, it takes a long cycle to grow into flower and seed again. So it's better to just cut them down.
So that's what I was saying. Is it a long cycle to flower and seed if they're fast growing? The ones I have on my property, you cut them down and they just keep coming.
Yeah,
And you have to grind the stump.
Right.
Or there's a paste that you can put on a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's used mostly for bamboo, but you can also use it on other trees.
Yeah, we're trying not to use chemicals. I believe that's the unfortunate. It's good for not to use. We're only using organic methods. I believe that's what the town's committed to.
Yep.
So
Do you have
we're
any
restricted by that.
Do you have any updates on the goats? I know we discussed that last time.
I think that I think Amy talked to me about it. Really, it's very expensive.
Very expensive.
It's extremely expensive, and it's just hard to just go. You have to pay to have these things, and I think you could use your whole budget. We could basically use our whole budget on that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why mechanical removal is kind of the cheapest, and cheaper than that, believe it or not, for that type of stuff.
I don't know that they ever got a hard number on it, but that's
It was
what
really
we
high.
understood.
It was
It was expensive, but I'd love to see
So
that.
my only point would be, I would make all the trees, Chris Filmer really talked about the vines and how they were crushing all the trees in there. So that should be part of the priority, or, as you all consider that.
Right. Well, I think as soon as we've got the money in the budget, starting July 1st, the idea was to have the landscape come in and start tackling that one that I think we called it Area A. Yeah, and start doing a big swath of that. So my hope is that that's what we'll get going right after the new fiscal year starts.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I just want to add one more thing. I was up in Wellesley visiting my sister, and they had all this black tarp out, and she was describing they've got an invasive called Japanese knotweed.
I have it.
We have that too.
So, okay, we have it too. It's a 10-year process. They put the black tarp down to kill it, and it's like a cicada that, 10 years later, it's still going to generate shoots. So to me, that just really impressed also in talking to Chris Filmer, the importance of prioritizing which ones we're going after, tackling ones that we can sort of win, and recognizing it's a very long game, and it's not just weed whacking one year, but having a hopefully horticulturally driven approach. So
Yeah. When I spoke before the Board of Finance in, I guess it was March, and just to get some money in the budget for this, I was like, this isn't a one and done, guys. This is going to be every year, and then they encouraged us to come up with a long-term plan.
Yep.
And start sizing, what it's really going to take and how we're going to prioritize it. So, yeah. But I think we all just want to see
progress.
Well, Cherry Lawn, and just that back section looks so messy. But,
I was at a park this weekend where they had done a big invasive removal, and then what they had to do was then fence it off, because they replanted, and they had to fence it off from the deer, because they usually, they like natives, they like all the stuff that we like, so the problem is then they come back, and then if we clear the weeds, and then the deer eat what we plant there, there's going to be nothing. I mean, you're back to square one with invasives back in the same spot. So these are things to consider, like
planting natives will choke them out too, right? Because it will end up.
Some of them will, but the problem is that the deer eat them. The deer don't like the non-native, like the invasives, believe it or not, for some reason. And so that's why they survive and they thrive in this neighborhood. But if you put in natives, they're like, yum, there's lunch, and they wipe out a whole area. And I plant natives only, and I have to cage everything on my property because I love the deer pressure. So, just a challenge. There's a lot of things to think about. And
fighting Mother Nature is a challenge.
Yes.
Probably not a winnable one, unfortunately, but we can keep going on it. So the committee meets again tomorrow to go, but that was something I wanted to make sure got mentioned about and go on the record that we're going to be looking at cutting down trees, which generally we hate to do. I mean, when Amy says she wants to cut down a tree, it needs to be cut down. It's time.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I just want to say that I repeated what you said at the Board of Finance, essentially in my report to the RTM and the budget, just basically highlighted some of the new things, and of course the invasive plant was one of it, and said it's like you're likely to see this again.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Great. Kim?
I just have a question, maybe because I'm new and I wasn't here when the inception of this working group on invasives, but do you have anybody, a horticulturist or someone from a local nursery to consult with on this that is like an expert on how to get rid of these invasives? Because there are so many methods.
I don't know if you know, but Julie King's on this committee, and she's dairy and pollinator, and she's doing a project this weekend at the Nature Center where they are going to be removing a bunch of invasives right on the property, and they're going to replant right away with natives. So I feel like she has a lot of great expertise, having worked with her on the planting at Town Hall recently too. So they do a lot. She's also on beautification, I don't know if you know that. And so this weekend we also did the Amy's Memorial Smile Garden in Tilly Pond right there. So, I mean, she has a lot of expertise in that, whether there's a company that does it, you go into that space where you start paying too also.
Well, it might be that you get together with a botanist or someone from one of the local colleges or someone who has an interest in studying these particular things. I mean, I learned so much about all of this every time I even just go to the garden center or, talk to one of Reynolds or
a master gardener.
Yeah, we have two master gardeners on the committee.
She's also a master gardener.
Yeah, and I know Joanne well. I think there's a little twist on it in terms of being a gardener versus a horticulturist. And I know gardeners are experts in a lot of the things that you plant, but the things that you try to get rid of, it's like a different specialty. I'm just making a suggestion. It might take a little research, maybe with the library.
Mike staff has background in horticulture.
Yeah.
Who's on our crew. And
So I
that's
just
the one who tagged
wanted to
everything.
throw that out there because
Right.
you learn
And
so
he's on the
many
committee.
things on this.
No, I just invited them tomorrow, just to talk about, what he's tagged and what other additional information, what kind of, how much energy can they put into taking them down? Is it realistic to take that many down? And
This is just for tree heaven, right?
yeah, so, but we can pick his brain tomorrow.
We can do that. See, there you go.
Just a thought.
Are you on the committee too?
I am not. I'm new to RTM and I'm sort of learning.
I was only asking because, he speaks at it, that's why I mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
And if you're interested, join the Zoom, right? Is it a Zoom, right?
It is.
Yeah.
All the working groups are virtual.
Virtual, yeah. Laura Mosier actually sent me a link to an article a week or so ago. It's about a program they did in Baltimore, and they've developed a program they call the Baltimore City Weed Warriors. And it's a citywide program, but they basically train volunteers, and they're called, for their non-native invasive plant management, and they train volunteers and effectively certify them to go into the parks on a volunteer basis.
Perfect.
Remove natives. I thought it was super interesting. I was like, wow, how would we get that going? It says to be certified, volunteers must complete, I can't read this, a 3-part class series and participate in one group plant removal event. And then it goes on to what the plant curriculum is in terms of getting the people trained. And then they're certain they get like vests or something, so when they're park digging, it shows that like I'm here, I know what I'm doing. I'm on these plants. But anyway, I'll circulate that. But it was really interesting, and I was like, that could be cool because I really didn't know a lot about these.
Yeah, like my neighbors do a lot of this, and they have apps on the phone and it identifies the plants and whether they're endangered, invasive, dangerous to animals, to eat, to digest, and it's fascinating what's out there. And I know limited resources, but
I had it on my phone too until it started telling me I needed to get charged.
Yeah, I know that one.
Restore button, it's free.
Yeah, one of it is,
I said restore, don't pay. It's on the top corner, grayed out.
And Chris Filmer obviously was,
Yeah.
as I said, I took like 10 pages of notes when he spoke. And
Oh,
Cara,
God.
I'm sure you're an expert because you're on the National Land Board. And
I'm
everything.
not
You're
an
being
expert, I
polite.
knew enough to say, I think everybody should talk to Chris Filmer and
Yeah.
appreciate that this is a decade-long effort that will benefit from being both strategic for which ones people go, and I do think the suggestion to have sort of horticultural expertise is a great one, and there are certain weeds that you need to pull them before they seed, and if you pull them after they seed, you just spread more of them. And so just don't create more of a problem by pulling stuff at the wrong time. So, and I just like, as an example, as we were discussing this, went onto the Penn State horticultural site, and on Tree of Heaven, there's no hand pulling. They really recommend an herbicide-based approach. So just enough to say, I think calling somebody would benefit.
before you spend the time and money and energy cutting everything down. Conversation.
Great idea.
So I think we're all learning an awful lot about this.
Yes, we are.
An awful lot. Okay, great. Pear tree.
Pear trees. So a couple of things. At our last meeting, we talked about potentially applying some of the beautification dollars at Pear Tree. So Chris and I met down at Pear Tree and are going to also connect with Janet and had a couple of ideas that we thought would be easy to execute on. So maybe at the next meeting, we'll have something to share. We're looking forward to getting the working group back together. I think the survey is in really good shape, having gone through lots of different rounds of iterations. Pam's also signed a contract with Noble House to work on the execution for the survey, which I think is great. They're a firm in town and have a lot of expertise in distribution of surveys, and the overall, so we'll still fine tune the details, but the overall goal is to make sure that the surveys distributed widely so that anybody in town who wants to participate or contribute really feels like they've had that opportunity. And so there'll be primarily an email channel, but other ways that we'll get the word out and working on those details. So, and I did send the survey around to the commission, so if people have questions, definitely reach out to me via email later this week. That's what I got.
Good.
Yep.
Good. And then as we can mention now, I was going to
Oh,
the
yeah,
President's
the thing
report,
with-
whatever.
yes,
Dan
yeah,
Biggs
good point.
finally heard back from the Army Corps, which was the last piece. So he's putting the pieces together to get the application in Connecticut Deep. He sent like a 30-page document. I have not read it yet. I don't know if you slogged through it yet. Okay.
Yes, but yeah, super.
Okay. So anyway, so that has been pending for an awfully long time. So at least that gives us a little bit of forward movement. So that just happened in the last week or so, maybe Friday.
April 29th.
Yeah, just in the last couple of days. So a little bit of progress there, finally. Finally, it's been painful. Okay, and then Weed Beach.
At our last meeting, we got an updated budget from Dan Biggs on the project, because the budget he had previously was kind of included some concrete boardwalk, and he clarified the budget, so now that it's only the April rate.
Yes.
Clearly only. I mean, it was still a good deal of money. It was slightly less, I would say like 180,000 less with the, and we talked a little bit about the surfacing and whether, you know, if it's good to use that versus concrete, and I think we would get some feedback.
Right, would concrete last longer,
Yeah.
is that this, you know?
And Guilford, you said you had a colleague in Guilford, I believe, that had already used it, so you want to look at the longevity, if this is a good surface, things like that. We also tried to figure out, I guess the other thing we talked about was also about separating the project a little bit to see if we could maybe do parts of it, because we're still holding out for getting a partner in this project so that we can do everything we want in the most cost-effective way. So I know that Pam was able to reach out to town council, and he said that we can separate it out so that
Do a part A, part B.
Part B, because, you know, a partner has a certain contract that they like to use, a potential partner, I should say. And we found out that that's possible to do it that way. So then maybe there's a piece the town can do, and then the partner can do another piece. So just to kind of figure out, otherwise we have to go to the town for the whole amount, and that might be a little challenging. You know, it's better to get a partner if we have Pam. So Pam, we were going to reach out to Jen.
My colleague?
Your colleague, yeah.
Well, Jen had already reached out to me about some additional projects the high school had kind of put on the table that weren't done from them. So she has to still see whether her board has interest in doing our project versus their two smaller projects. So we haven't, it hasn't been determined
I
yet.
would say we should not count on them as a partner. I ran into her this weekend.
Yeah.
And still encourage her, but she told me about some of the projects that they're looking at that are
At the high school.
for the school. So it doesn't mean that they don't want to do it, but we need to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
So that's fair. And if we find that that's the case, then we're just going to go forward and ask if we can get the full amount covered by the town, I'm assuming, if the commission's okay with it, if that becomes the final answer. I think we have, I mean, unfortunately, the number isn't, you know, concrete in the sense that materials, labor, everything's going up and down. I mean, up mostly, I shouldn't say down, that's the wrong thing to say at this point. And so the sooner we go forward, you know, the more, hopefully the lower the price can be, but at this point, I think it's still going up, right?
I think that Dan put in that contingency.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good about it.
Yeah, he did his due diligence on trying to price it out. But we also decided too at the end of the meeting that we're all going to meet at the property.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to follow the schedule as written on the May 31st. We're going to cancel that regular scheduled meeting to meet a week earlier.
To walk the property.
To walk the property.
Just this, you know, because we haven't walked it in so long. I mean, it's been probably a few years now, to be honest with you, since the original.
And
plan.
Sandy will join us,
And
who's
yes,
our
we'll have
park
someone that
supervisor.
can do, you know, who's going to be maintaining any, you know, pathways we put through, so we should have him on board to make sure that the things that we're thinking about putting in, proposing, he can maintain, you know, in the best way possible. And
Because one of the things about the pricing, if y'all remember, is that if you go forward with a boardwalk, that was expensive because they were trying to factor in how heavy it had to be able to handle Parks and Rec heavier equipment. And so that's why we suggested to walk with them, because is it really something we can just blow with a walking blower versus having to have a heavy piece of equipment? So Sandy will be very helpful.
Well, the heavy piece of equipment is
on the beach.
Right. So, I mean,
When we talk
that
about open,
could be
heavy
configured.
breakthroughs.
Right, could be configured
Yes.
to allow, right. And
Yeah.
that should be in the plan anyway.
Yeah, we have to do that because the sand sifter, the machines we use
Yeah.
for the beach, we need to accommodate that. That's definitely a big issue for us. So it'll be great to have Sandy, and then you'll be there too, so we'll be able to talk more about it then, but.
And I believe the date on that is the,
Next week?
I believe it's next week.
Yes, 24th, you said.
I'm just gonna double check it.
It's next week.
And Susan, this is, will you just refresh our memory on the project? So it's the 1 mile walking trail with a boardwalk.
Yes.
That the last time it was
Yeah.
priced was $1.9 million for the mile trail, and that number's been going up.
It's been going up, yes,
And
since
there's,
COVID.
is
That
there an
number-
estimate for where it's going up
We're at
to?
like something at 2.34,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. It's gone up a lot, I mean tremendously, but that number that we had originally was a long time ago now.
Right.
It's
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic by a lot, like it was
Yeah.
probably 2019. So it wasn't a very, even then by those standards, it wasn't a, because we were just doing kind of more.
Well, the original number from DFG, the Darien Athletic Foundation's vendor, was 1.9.
Yeah.
So, not that far.
But the idea is, it's the 1 mile of a walking trail, and what are the other things?
It's just about, we didn't get a mile, but just about.
It's just,
Yes, it's a
okay,
little bit
it's close
smidge
to a
under.
mile, ADA
And then this
compliant
whole
walking
boardwalk
trail.
in the front, right
Yeah.
here.
It's no longer
The boardwalk's
ADA.
like $865,000 approximately for X amount of space. So that's the big kind of circle,
Right.
is there a better way to do it? And so
Got it.
Earth is working on it.
But it's not an ADA compliant path any longer.
It was gonna be asphalt, and it just got to be too expensive, I mean, honestly, and we just had to, we didn't wanna, it was not gonna happen with asphalt. And also, we did get a little pushback since I got about the environmental impact of asphalting certain spots in the back here. So we were trying to be considerate of that too, but it then becomes non-ADA compliant. But we felt like the stone that we talked about, like a larger stone, once it's packed down, it's walkable. It's just not gliding like a road would be, right?
But still the asphalt in the meadow area.
Would have loops of ADA.
It would be asphalt, it would be ADA, even sort of the extended.
The heavy use areas.
Right, yeah. Like we still want tricycles and little bikes to be able to, zoom around off-road.
We just had to make a choice, and that's really what it came down to. We were looking for places, we kind of made it more narrow, there's different parts of it that we tried to just to make it more budget friendly, to be honest with you. Because we think it would be great to, kind of use a space that was currently not being utilized at all, to be honest with you.
The other thing that came up was that you all have a mobile, I don't know how you call it, but for handicapped people. Pardon me?
What do you mean?
The mobile, it's like a
the
mobile
sand.
wheelchair.
Yes,
right?
it's a sand wheelchair.
A sand wheelchair. And do we have the pads that we can lay out for folks? So you get in it and you roll it down? So that was a discussion point.
No, we don't. I've never seen any type of paths that we rolled out, but we have the sand wheelchairs, but they're built to be movable in the sand. Now, where I live, we do have those mats that we roll out to the water. We put it in our capital improvement budget my first year I got here, and it didn't go through. And for whatever reason, we didn't continue to push it. But that path or that rollout is really for people that have difficulty getting to the water. so I.
Not just handicapped, so,
No, it's true. I witnessed at my beach, people just tend to go, their gate's a little off, it's just easier to walk on that and then plant their stuff down in the beach, in the sands,
Right.
but they're right near the accessible.
And so many
Beach is so
folks,
shallow,
as Susan says, and I think that's a great phrase of people that are aging in place,
Yeah.
right? We want them to be able to still enjoy being in Darien and get down to the beach. So what are some simple things that we can do,
That's
So we
simple.
should explore, I don't know what the costs are of those.
It's about $6-7 grand, depends on how long, right? So it
And
depends.
is that something like the lifeguards would roll out each day?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
We should consider it definitely when we do it, when we do the project, the final. I mean, even if we don't do everything, something to.
Or even if
Improvements,
you don't.
improvements. I'm
Right.
saying improvements. We call it.
Right,
Yeah.
it's a simple fix. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, and it also makes me wonder if it would be, and maybe you guys have already done this, just talking with the senior center about what are the most accessible, what are sort of the biggest priorities to make town more accessible. And I don't know that I have experience with that, but I think it would be good just to know what people are looking for.
Good call.
Okay.
I think part of it was the boardwalk was going to help with that, was the idea that it was going to be ADA and that people would be able to sit and really enjoy it, and that they can get wheelchairs, they can walkers, whatever it might be. It's right from the parking lot right onto that surfacing. Because I guess I should take a step back. I did Wheat Beach 1, and Wheat Beach 1, we did have a boardwalk that went the entire length of the front, and we had to take it out because of budget reasons. But that was originally part of the plan, was that we were going to have our youngest residents, or anybody that might have trouble getting around, that they would have that length to go back and forth.
Because they don't get a chance to walk along the beach.
They don't, and so that
and
was
they
kind
would
of,
now.
that was kind of the vision for the original Wheat Beach 1. And when we kind of didn't have any money, to fund that piece, we had to take that out. I mean, there were a couple of things that came out, like the sailing building, things like that. But we always felt like it was a natural fit for that space because of the way the amount of frontage we have here versus at Pear Tree.
I think it would be used so much for people to have access to walk all along the sand, all the way to the end, and then be able to connect to the rest of the property. I think you'll find that there'll be a lot of walkers.
I agree,
and runners.
and it's safe, because right now I feel like we don't have a lot of sidewalks in town for people to walk, or even places. The Highland's been great, there's some spaces, but we don't really have that loop that people can just enjoy and be safe and enjoy the outdoors, So, I would love to see the project done.
I will just say though, sitting through those meetings years ago, there was healthy debate amongst the commission, and I know there's a lot of different folks on the commission now, about whether the boardwalk, it was in no way unanimous that the boardwalk was the right thing.
I
And
think
so,
it
but
was-
that's why it's good that we're
But
continuing
it was in
to
the plan,
explore.
though, Patty, at the end, it was in the plan, and it was only for financial reasons we didn't do it. There was no
Kickback.
Nobody was against it, to be honest with you. It was all financial, it was a financial decision, cut and dried, and we never, as a commission, I don't remember it at all like that. And I was on Wheat Beach and the commission at that time, so I would have heard all that discussion. And the restaurant was the biggest no-no, which we took out right away.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
But was that Pear Tree though?
No, this was here, when they were talking about doing the restaurant here.
Yeah.
There was so much kickback on that one. That was DOA. Like, we could not even.
Maybe
We're talking about a long
I'm
time
really
ago.
starting
to age myself here very quickly. Sorry, guys. Cheryl and I have been doing this forever, remember. And I was right. So I unfortunately have that weird memory for things like that. So anyway, we'll go forward. We'll see. We'll come up with something that we can do for this. So.
Well, great, we've got a lot going on.
Yep.
A lot of really great stuff going on, so exciting. Okay, Pam, your director's report?
Okay, so I did as I wrote in the report, I did a last push with Marley Hayes on the concession stand at Pear Tree and I got 6, 7, 8. I got 3 more this week. But At one point, I've met a resident down, many may know her, Lori Olson, and she has a food handler's license. We met down at Pear Tree, and she's very excited about it, very transparent with her about the experience that Nikki had there last year. I feel that, Nikki went in with maybe buying a little bit too much equipment, not equipment, but her supplies and too much staff, and right off the get-go made some quick losses. So everything's transparent. She's still very interested. She wants to start very slow and have, more like popcorn and ice cream and water and hot dogs, and, and she'll take it slow. And then if, it's doing well, she can expand. If it's not, she stays the same. So she's very interested, and she's going to be signing the agreement next week.
Yeah.
So.
Great, thank you so much.
So starting next week?
No. She's going to be cleaning out and hoping to be prepared for Memorial Day weekend. But again, if she is, she is. If she's not, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Whatever.
And her name again?
Lori Olson.
Good job. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And that was all from your
second kind of, I was like, I kept thinking, oh my God, I still don't have anybody. I'm going to do one more push.
Great job.
And so, actually, I have the concessionaire from McGuan called me this week because apparently some people there were saying, you should do it. So he finally called me, and I said, honestly, I can't go back. I've already agreed with somebody else. So I'll keep your name for next year. And
that's good.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Is there a profit share on that?
She is willing to give the town back 5% of gross sales, and we get 7% of gross sales that we reach.
And when is Nikki starting?
Nikki's starting this weekend.
Okay.
So
This weekend.
This weekend.
Yeah.
So For Michael event is on Saturday, and she will be opening up to help serve that event as well as the public. She'll be open 11 to 5. She's supposed to send me her menu tomorrow so that I can put that out as a push.
Okay.
She's ready to go.
Good. Okay. I saw her a few weeks ago, and she said she was opening soon.
Yes. Yes. And security guards, as you see, have started with Orion, and we have 2 patrol on. One is Wendell, and Wendell I have met. Seems like a great guy. He's on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then they have a new patrolman on Saturday and Sundays who I have not met yet. So that's getting off the ground. So the gazebo, I put that in the report. I have been working back and forth with the family and back and forth with Clatter Farms, who seems to be the most reasonable company that I've found in Connecticut. Looks like they do great work. He was great to work with. The family, although we went through back and forth with many different designs, it was pretty amazing that they came back and absolutely loved the one that I put in the. It's nice. It's a rectangle. It's not the circle. I do think it's going to be more user friendly. They love the ornament look. That is the same as what is there now, which is the ornament look too. It would be ground level rather than elevated. I did send some plans to the building department just to start that if they have any questions or concerns about the plan. We will have to go out to bid. Clatter Farms isn't on a Connecticut state bid list. If they were, I wouldn't have to go out to bid, but I still have to get approval here, then approval through all the boards and commissions for the donation, such a large donation. And then once I get the approvals, then we can actually go out to bid. And
it's larger than the existing one.
It's a little bit.
It's about 4 feet, right?
Yeah, the one there now is 20 feet in diameter.
Yeah.
And then this one's circular. So this, yes, you'd be able to put a few different picnic tables under there, and you wouldn't feel as if, somebody's in there and it's taken. We can put some picnic tables around it as well. I think that it has a lot of uses for flexibility, flexible space.
What about the wear and tear of the actual product itself? Did they provide any information about
upkeep, maintenance costs for any out there?
Well, it definitely has the vinyl, so it's not gonna be wood.
It's all vinyl?
Right.
It's all vinyl.
So,
Okay.
so not the roof, but yeah.
This is all vinyl, so is that hollow?
Not the floor and not the roof, but an inside of the roof, when you look up, is like all mahogany. It's beautiful.
Oh, so it's, okay.
Absolutely
And
beautiful.
all that white stuff, like the railing, what's that?
That's vinyl.
Fine, okay.
Is that hollow inside?
No, it's wood. It's covered with vinyl. It's wood.
Wood that's covered with
Yeah,
vinyl?
yeah.
So it makes it.
Don't mark my words, because I haven't looked at the entire like drawing of material, but that's how I understand it. to be.
That way it doesn't rot.
Exactly. Easier to clean.
We don't want any rock.
You know?
It looks like wood.
Yeah. Right. Yes, it's the smart way to go. And so all that would work within the budget. I believe I would have just under 50,000 and then an additional 5,000 to work with the engraved plaque. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. So I should have, and I didn't put on there, did I?
So
I
there's
didn't put anything
savings
on
because
there.
you won't have to paint because it's vinyl, right?
Mhm,
Because
sure.
we remember Jack Whitehead used to paint it every
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And how much bigger is it? About 4 feet? did you say?
Yeah, it's 20 by 24.
Okay.
And the one that's there now is 20, circular. Yeah.
Would probably pick up some space because it's not circular, so
Exactly,
you've got
yeah.
all those.
And with all the approvals, when could we possibly
No, had I known, I didn't want to discuss and vote tonight because I wanted to put a picture out there first and then have a discussion about it. And then maybe, it's too bad, it's a whole nother month now. But, so we come back in, unfortunately, June. You know, so, and a lot of.
Looking at fall, easy.
Probably, because a lot of the boards don't meet in the summer.
So tell us, other than us, what other boards?
I gotta go to Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, RTM.
Because it's a gift, not,
Yes.
are there any other boards that have to approve the structure? Is this a P and Z or no?
No.
No.
Any distance to the pond issue?
No, because it's gonna stay, no, we're gonna stay right where, we're just gonna kind of center it a little bit more rather than put it where it is so close to the path. It actually will look prettier, I think.
Is it level?
And the trees, you
Yeah.
know, there's 2 big trees and then there's that rock area there. So it'll still fit
Oh, it's
in
gonna
that
fit.
area. Great, thank you for
Yeah, and so the building department will work with me too in terms of any other.
Okay, so the board's issue, it's really to accept the gift. That's the gauntlet we have to run.
Yep. But they are super happy, the family, so that's
Right.
great.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, they're really, really happy. So I'll be working with them on the design of the plaque and what it will read, and maybe one other board I'll have to go to is the memorial.
Architecture review? Oh, no.
Why do you
Monuments and ceremonies.
You do? You have to do that?
Yeah, even with our commemorative benches, if it reads as a memorial.
Oh, you do?
It's easy, it's just another step.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, if it reads as a memorial. If it doesn't, you don't have to go through that.
Oh, you know, probably. Okay, that's good to know. Memorial, isn't it, to the father?
Well, it depends on how they want to
The Dortlemans?
address it. You know, some people come up with some real clever, fun, beautiful ways to have it. As I know with the benches. You know, some of the benches, they've had some really great messages, even though the loved one is gone. They're not really.
Sad.
Yeah.
Like play ball, like Rick's too.
Yeah.
So
My
great.
toes in
Yeah.
the sand with my
Yeah.
grandparent or whatever. So yes, some people have been very clever. So we'll plan on June meeting to do a vote.
Okay.
And in the meantime, I can actually start to get on some of these other boards and start to at least get myself on the agenda.
The RTM doesn't have a regular meeting after June until September.
Right.
Yeah.
And would I have to get this commission approval first?
Yeah.
I just mean that if I were to get on the board and commissions in June for the selectmen and finance.
Could we just do a vote?
I think we have to go, it has to be
It's
this
not on
process.
the
You have to
agenda.
get
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
commission and it goes, it elevates to the next.
Could we do a special meeting virtually?
Yeah.
Sure.
I do that.
That would be very time saving.
That makes sense. Sure, like we did for the
The other thing.
The thing at Tilly.
So you want to mark it?
Yeah.
That would be great.
So then you're trying to get on their June meeting you're trying to do?
I want to see.
Meeting.
Yeah, it would be good to see if I could move it along a little
It
bit.
would be nice to move it along.
Right, since we're all, if everybody's in agreement, that's great.
Yeah.
Because then you could open it in the fall, which
Yeah.
would be a great
It
time.
would be beautiful,
Yeah, it'd be really
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah, and it's so pretty, so pretty. Yeah.
So, all right, so next, how about if I,
Yeah. Well, at least 5 of us, 6 of us are amenable to that, so.
So what day? You said a day, right?
no, I didn't say, but so,
What do you need to present to the commission? I mean, could we not hold a vote
Vote
tonight?
No, because it's not on our agenda, and it has to be noticed. I mean, somebody could look at it and want to make public comment about it or whatever.
so, right, next week. Does everybody want to do a Wednesday at, say, 6 o'clock virtual meeting?
When, I know Amy's away on business, because there's that other thing, Susan, she was trying to get us to go to.
Oh,
6
yeah,
o'clock.
the seed saver one?
Yeah,
It's 5:30 to 7.
yeah.
It won't
But
be
Amy's
bad.
away. I know she's away, and I think she would want to be involved in
Well, it's
this.
virtual.
But if she's on business, she might be.
Yeah, I can't do it. The FCI final is next.
There you go.
All next week, or,
No, it's a Wednesday.
so could we do Monday or Tuesday?
We've got our priorities here.
It's virtual, so
It's like the Super Bowl.
it's literally going to be,
All right, we have to be sensitive to timing, we still have to have an agenda, we still have to post it, we have public notice period.
I could do
We
that
do have some
tomorrow.
commission members who aren't here this evening, so why don't Pam and I regroup
Yeah,
about
right,
a good
so-
time,
and then
and
you
we'll
give us-
reach
why
out
don't
to
you
you
give
with
us a few
dates.
times, and then we can
Few
go
times,
forward.
and then we'll do it as quick,
And
see
then
if
you
we
can
can
just
do
see
it quickly.
how many people can go to each one, and then,
Exactly.
and if anybody has feedback, we'll just feedback to you if we have any questions.
Yep.
You know.
Yep, I
so
think
if
that's
we can't
better, Pam.
attend for whatever reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay?
because
Yeah.
tomorrow would be the day that I could actually do an agenda and have it posted.
Right, because remember, town hall's not open on Friday, so we can't get things
Oh, yeah.
posted.
But I can post, yeah, no.
RTM's meeting's June 6th, so we'd have to come to rules to get on our agenda for us to put it on
Rules
rules.
is on the 23rd, I think, of
Of
May.
May.
So we're not gonna make
So
it.
you're not gonna get to the art.
We're not gonna make it anyway.
We're not gonna make it anyway.
Bummer.
Oh, well, we tried.
But if you do a special meeting, I mean,
We're not gonna post in time, we just said, because we have to post a meeting.
No, we
by
can't.
tomorrow.
We could post it.
No, you could do a special meeting, there's Board of
Yeah,
Selectmen
right.
meetings enough. RTM is the one that only, you know, we have,
I think it's.
Board of Selectmen has more often
Right.
meetings than finance. Pardon?
Doesn't have to go to them before it goes to you
Just
guys.
to go to the Board of Selectmen.
So that's what
Board-
is that?
Board of
That's what it's like,
Finance.
the Board of
Then the
Finance.
arts.
We got a lot of hurdles we gotta jump.
I know, so, but.
Do they meet in August?
No, better, more of a chance.
Unless there's some special meeting that happens over the summer for any special purchases that might be happening.
Yeah,
Other
or-
than that,
That's
no.
true. If there was, or June, like there could be, is there gonna be a June, we have to cover something?
So anyway,
Go for
So-
it.
it
What's
might
the
be
downside?
worth, well. yeah.
So we'll try to come up with a date, Lori and I, and push it out to all the commission members to see if we
Right.
can do a virtual
At least get
meeting
back
next
piece
week.
done.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
but yeah, we do, it's a very visible project in a very visible park. And I want to be sensitive to not just slapping a meeting out there and not have the public sufficiently noticed that people feel like they didn't get to hear about it and weigh in. I mean, we're all sitting here thinking this looks lovely, but I think we've all learned that sometimes there's other views and opinions, and I just want to be a little sensitive to that because it's such a highly visible thing. So
But
that's
we
my.
could have public comment during the virtual meeting before you.
Yes, but I'm saying if we said, well, let's rush and schedule it tomorrow and have it on Monday, I just don't feel like it would be out there for the public to find out about it and respond, is my concern.
Pam, have you walked the 20 by 24, or is anybody, the family or you all?
We didn't walk that, but I've been there measuring that thing. I mean, visually, it's,
It would be helpful if you staked it out. Yes. I think it's very important because when you said that, I just was like, that, I didn't realize there was that much level space in that. It's a bit of there's a slope there, so I don't know.
Yeah. We can stick it up, I have Sandy stick it up.
Yeah, do you mind?
No.
It would really, and then take a quick picture if people can't get there, so, and share it with the commission.
Yeah, I think,
Just to know the visual impact,
I think we need to be-
like where the opening is.
Sure.
Okay. I can keep reading.
Let's see, just reporting on Sunday, Adventure Day was awesome. We filled up both sessions and I had lots of conversations with lots of people and there were a lot of first timers that had never been there, so that was tremendous. We are going to, Chris Filmer, myself, and this woman, Alicia, are going to meet next week to do a survey to all the people attendance there that went, just to see, how many people was it their first time there? And then we're going to address some different questions that might help us with some data for next year. But it was super. And it was a beautiful day. People were just so incredibly happy coming out of the woods. It was pretty awesome. We also finished interviewing 5 candidates. We had 14 applications for the program supervisor job, and we narrowed it down to 6, and then it narrowed itself down to 5, and we interviewed all 5 over the last 2 days. So we believe that we have narrowed it down to the top, and but we're not ready to disclose that yet. We're going to do some reference checks and hope that by the end of next week we offer the offer in. And it's pretty exciting. But I'm sure that will be 2 weeks notice to their community they're working with, and so we'll look to hopefully have someone in June.
Great. It's good to hear there's that much interest.
Yeah, I did meet with or have a phone conversation with Dave Genovese, because Tamara and I are really working very hard to try to see whether or not we can orchestrate the July fireworks at such a late time. It's very late in the game. Dave is willing to work with us again, even though he feels it's very late as well. This particular person for the program supervisor, even getting thrown in June, it's just weeks away to July 1st event day. We do have an RFP bid opening on May 26th, which is next Thursday. That will be the first indicator whether there's even company available. We did increase the amount on the bid from $20,000 to $25,000. Because the way it works is that we identified the amount of shells, how many of each size shells that produced that really wonderful show years back. And that's how we went into the bidding process. These are the amount of shells that we want, with a budget not exceeding 20,000. So that's how we did. But with costs having gone up, we assumed that we should increase it to 25. And so we'll see it. We know that Pyrotechnico that worked with us last year or the year before are not available.
That's what I was going to ask. They were so good. Because my backyard's right there, and I said
they're not available, but there may be room for negotiation with them at, say, a little bit of a later date. So let's go through the bidding process first, see what we get. So we're still determined to try to pull something off, even though we're so short-staffed. But so we're got some moving balls in the air. We're still trying.
Wasn't it on a different date? It wasn't on the 4th of July.
July 1st. We're doing July 1st is the day that we.
Right. Last year it was after. I
think it was after last year.
Yeah.
July 2nd.
And we could have.
So that was that an alternate to give us more time?
It's possible. We put the bid out already, and the problem was there was already certain things that had been confirmed with that date, like the band has been confirmed for that date. So that we figured, why change everything when we're already behind the gun? So, so that's what we're doing with that. And the painting bid came back. We have the painter for Paddle Hut and the concession stand at Wheat Beach starting next week.
That's great.
That will take 2 to 3 days. And our crew, we have one real professional painter on our crew, and he'll paint the Weed Beach mid-level down.
Fabulous.
Yep,
That's great.
so that'll be done.
Fabulous.
Okay, I think I'm good.
You're good, okay. I just had a couple questions. The geese relief,
Yeah?
were we
We had-
trying to find, I know the other one we lost, were we trying to find others, or?
We didn't lose, I just moved him. He was
Oh.
getting harassed by some
Okay.
neighbors. He was not happy, he was not gonna come back there again. So I moved him to Highland because Highland had a very big geese issue and they are,
They're gone.
they're gone.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he called me on the phone with some tough words and I just said, pack your car and drive to Highland.
So then what are we doing?
So I
Because I
have
see we're getting an.
reached out to a couple different companies to see if I can get quotes for Tilly, but as we've seen, there are very many, it's divided. There's people that don't want that service there and there are people that do, so.
It's really hard with the Memorial Day Parade, that food thing being there, and for that to be all.
Nothing we can do about it right now.
I'm just
Other
saying.
than our guys putting some hoses on, but the guy will not come back, he got harassed.
Have we considered like motion activated things, just to kind of?
I try lots of different
The
things.
swans.
I know, and it's just, they're hard, it's really the dogs that get them, to be honest with you, and I would, you
Yep.
know.
So, I mean, we did try other alternative methods, not all of them. There are certainly lots of other things out there, but I think I got heckled enough that
But to Susan's point, the guys can clean it prior, that's
Yeah.
important. To that Monday is a very visible thing.
But the
for our
problem
town.
is our guys don't work on,
Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
well, they do have some overtime, and I'll have to check to see if they're doing fields on Saturday and Sunday. If they do, possibly can throw one over at Tilly.
I think we need
you
to,
know.
I just would be, it's gonna be their biggest thing that it's their fundraiser,
Mhm.
and that's where. it's
11 to 2,
A lot
yeah.
of town people are gonna be there. I mean,
It's a
it's-
great-
We have that.
It's a house, you know.
And we also have another event the following weekend, see the Pride event.
Yes.
Yep. But again, I mean, it's a huge argument amongst the neighbors. so.
I just think that we have to keep that park cleaner. There's a lot of visitors to that space. You're talking about special events. I mean, this is one of our town, one of the
I
historic town
understand,
highways.
I understand.
And I just think that, if it's not the guy, or he's afraid to go? Is that?
Oh, no, he's just done.
He just was
he's not
getting
he's
for
not
too much
gonna-
verbal abuse.
So we just need another vendor that might do this type of work that.
I have been researching other companies. I have to get a quote.
It's not really that easy,
No, there's a couple more. Geese chasers. There's another one I had our interns
let's
research.
get that.
So they're supposed to be giving me a quote.
Let's get them, if we can get, do we have to have it bid? Is that what's taking, what's the process?
If their quote comes in over 10,000, it's gotta be bid. So I asked for the quote. I have not received it yet. So this just took place this week.
Oh, great.
Or just make a leash-free park.
No, we just off the sheets. It is a leash park,
It is,
Yeah,
so,
yes,
yeah, certain times,
But
right.
the problem is that, I know, I have a dog and I used to take her off leash there with the avian flu and all that stuff. I can't bring that home to my chickens, or, it just will kill your whole flock. So it's very, it's a health.
And the geese are eating all the seed,
Yeah,
the grass seed.
So it just looks like a mess,
So, yeah.
So Pam, if we do get someone else, maybe we can get some help from our police department to not have these people heckled while they're doing work.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he can call the police, I suppose,
We could arrange and ask the
So-
police maybe to come by and
No,
help.
but it's scattered times.
It is.
They have to, because
They have to, because the geese will learn. They'll learn.
It's
They're
like
smarter than I
vendor
think,
learns
right?
from
Can we have a staff member go when he's going to buffer?
Exactly, something to help him.
run interference.
That, we don't have a big crew.
They don't
We don't, I mean,
know.
we're big, we can't follow him around.
It's interesting.
But I mean, how often does he come?
The neighborhood
Every day,
wants
every
those.
day.
Oh, it is?
The rest of that neighborhood wants to have the geese gone. So if it's 2 or 3 people, I say let's everyone try and investigate or bring together some of the neighbors to put the pressure on the 2 or 3 that are debating it. And if the rest are agreeing, then it can be a peer pressure.
I have a very unusual suggestion here. I live on Holly Pond, and we have a very large backyard. I've been fighting the geese for 28 years, and with everything you can imagine, paying people, dogs, whatever. And the one thing that has gotten rid of the geese on my yard, and I shared this with the Darien Y, same problem, are pinwheels. They're reflective pinwheels, and we line our yard with them, and I have them staked out in other parts of the yard. And I also have reflective tape, streamers, if you will, tied to the top of our playground up there. And it mimics the wind, mimics other, like feathers and wings of other birds, so it creates territory. So the geese won't fly in and go on the lawn because they think it's other birds' territory. So it's very simple, it's very inexpensive, and it might be something that...
It could also be if they can't see, because that's the problem too. If they can't see, I know there's communities that have planted a lot of different shrubs and things around the pond, because if you can't see to get out, right, they don't want to go in.
But what they do when they fly overhead is they go to the grassy by the water, and they encroach on that. And I don't have a seawall, where we're one of the only properties on Hollow Pond that doesn't have a seawall, so they can just walk right up. And half the time they're swimming in my pool. And my dog will chase them away and so forth. But this reflective tape, it is so easy to, I have it on the stakes, I have it tied to the backs of chairs, I have a few of them.
It'd be worth a try.
And it's, $12 for a roll of this tape, and it's lasted me 2 years already, and it's gotten rid of all the geese.
Awesome.
there you go.
But it's a simple way, and something that looks very nice are those pinwheels.
You can do red, white, and blue ones.
Exactly.
Decorate them all around the pond.
Why not? Be very budget friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try that out, why not?
And maybe get the neighbors to help put them out. I mean, my concern would be people taking. Maybe the neighbors won't be happy aesthetically though.
Yes, we'll do that. I'll help you.
Many red, white, and blue pinwheels.
But you can buy, 100 pack of them.
Yeah, just stick them
On
around.
Amazon, yeah.
And it's fun for the kids to, have pinwheels, but I guarantee you, it will get rid of some of the geese, if not all.
Let's
It
try
depends
it.
on how much you
Worth
put
a
out.
try.
And you don't have to just put them around the pond, you can put them kind of periodically throughout the grass, throughout, on the top.
They radiate from the pond though, that's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
Is they land there and then they kind of encroach, like you just said,
Well,
the
yeah.
grass area where the seeds are, and then they do their little business, they come back and they come in and out, so. Let's try it.
Let's try it.
Let's try it. I'd help you plant those.
Okay.
Can you send something to me? What it is?
Right,
You can get them at Walgreens.
Oh, it's not for them.
No, it's your decoration.
Oh.
It works like
Interesting.
that. So like you can go under garden supply. And you can
Gotcha.
see people have pinwheels in the garden for the same reason. It also gets rid of the bunnies. Because I put the tape on my planters on the side, so when they come up, they see a reflection in the light, and they think it's another animal that's their territory.
Do you have chipmunks?
I would love it.
There's a lot of stuff.
Okay. I know what happy man.
Sounds great.
Now.
Okay. Awesome. Good.
Okay, and the garden club and the planting at Tilly?
They're still, I don't think they've come back with a final thing. I haven't seen it, have you?
I don't think I did follow up with them and their, because they gave me their company that did the marker form, but I don't believe it's done yet. I think they want to do it before Memorial Day. So.
Lots in a week.
Yeah, I know. I'll follow up with them.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at my email right now, see if I got it.
Okay, all right. And then the other thing, I just sort of noticed the book.
The book aid is great.
It's very cute.
It's
very cute.
I like that he made it safe by fastening.
Yeah, the location's good. When I looked at it yesterday morning, more than half empty.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so you want it to be filled?
Well, that's one of the things we asked him to follow up on, was who was going to keep it full.
Yeah, he is. He's just, they just had prom.
Yeah, and I saw it the day after, and it was, you know, went in and it was nice and full, and yesterday
Well,
morning.
that tells you that we're getting a lot of.
It does, but it's half empty.
Okay.
Like the whole bottom shelf was completely empty when I looked at it.
Okay. Well,
I agree, it's a good sign people are reading. People are reading, it's a
Lori, I
great
do
sign.
It's a great, outside though,
I
hopefully.
know, at the beach, I think it's great.
I'll email him and let him know, and maybe he could talk to people, gate people.
Okay, because that's what he was going to follow up in terms of who's
Yeah,
going to
they
be
said that
stocking
they
it.
would get, well, they're just up the street, which is great.
Yep.
And I don't know if he ended up doing one at their location, but hopefully they could bring, I know she said she had a lot of books.
Right.
So, and I know they brought a lot of books. I thought they had 3 boxes.
They did.
I'm just saying, I looked at it yesterday on my way before,
I wonder if
because I was down
they
here for
have
yoga.
one and they haven't refilled it. I'll find out for you.
Okay.
So there's 2 things going on, Tilly. One was, I was getting confused with, that was the marker that was being put there for the history. Debbie Murray did get in touch with me, and she was trying to talk about dates because we have this Memorial Day and we have the Pride event coming. So she had to check with someone about his commitment to watering, and we'll follow up with the best course of action going forward. The only thing I'm worried about is planting too late. On one hand, it would be great to have it all planted ahead of Memorial Day so that the new plantings are on display, but I do agree it is a risk. I don't think we can wait until after June event as we run the risk of it being too hot and the plants being stressed. So that was the last I heard from her on May 3rd. So I'll follow up. I would imagine it may be this weekend.
Okay.
I'm thinking they want to get ahead of it, but they might have to fence it off.
Yeah, fence it off just so people don't trample on it until things get settled. Okay, great. Okay, great. Any other questions for Pam?
Was the marker on the 10th of June, is that when they said they were going to put it up?
It escapes me.
Pam's had a very long day.
I think you're right. I'm not certain about the 10th, but yeah, I think you're right in June.
The other question I had is, I noticed we got the money for the paddle hut here, the additional paddle court here at Weed Beach. Are we gonna see a plan eventually, I assume, of where you're gonna put it and all the?
That is, Jim Coughlin and I will be working on that together.
Okay.
And we think that in order to plan for that, it would be not for the next paddle season, but in the spring of 2023.
Okay.
That's what we're planning.
Okay.
So we'll have to get some design work.
Yeah, that's
to
what
work
I
with the
thought.
company, probably have to go to bid. They're not on the Connecticut State bid list. So we think that that's probably achievable for 2023.
It's great we got all that money, so thank you.
I know. Good try.
Okay, I didn't have too much that we haven't touched on already. Usually I go to the Coastal Commission meeting, but I had to miss it last week and I haven't watched the video back yet, so I'll report back later if there's anything on that. I think everything else we hit, pretty much, with all the working groups. The only thing that had occurred to me a little bit, I think it's been nice that we've been going back in person. I mean, there's value to that, but then again, we lost some people tonight because they need to be home or whatever, and I was wondering whether for the summer months, whether there'd be a benefit to being virtual. I'm thinking about people who, I know some people have second homes, or they might be, okay, I could do it virtually, but I don't know how you guys would react to that, you know.
You don't have, you know.
I know how you feel.
I don't have to drive home. That'd be nice. But I'm here and I'll do whatever necessary, so.
What are the dates in the summer? Maybe that would help people.
June, and let's look at here.
I get it, Laura.
Do you have it?
Yeah. So they are.
I want to say June 19th.
June 15. And then July 20. And August 17, which typically we used to not have August meetings.
Yeah, we used to. We used to
And then
always-
as we got busier and busier and busier and busier, we started having
Started
that.
adding it back in.
So it would help me if the July meeting was virtual, because I won't be here.
So that's what I'm thinking, if people either have vacation plans, or I know some of you have second homes that you might be at, or spend time in the summer, that it might make it a little bit easier. I know Adele,
What's
you're...
the town do?
I don't know that we've been given any strict direction.
No, you know,
I like the in-person, I really love being with you guys, I think there's real benefit to it, but, you know, I know people need flexibility too.
I would really like to see and really push forward, regardless of just this, is to have in this building and in room 119, hybrid.
Yes.
Let people have the opportunity
option.
to join the
Right.
meeting from their living room if they choose.
Yep.
And if we choose to always be in person, that's fine, but I think it's really beneficial for people to have flexibility.
I agree. The town does that, don't they? They do hybrid meetings.
Specific rooms and only
yeah.
the.
Oh, because of that.
Only
Right, it's...
Right now, the RTM is in the process, and they got some ARPA funds, and so they're working on having a portable thing, you know, so you could do hybrid in 119.
Right.
But I think people will be standing in line to use it, but
Yeah.
so.
So important. I mean, look what we've learned over the
I
last
mean,
couple
the
of
selectmen
years.
had, one of the last, not the last one, the one before, it was hybrid because somebody couldn't be there, they did it with Zoom, they were on 206, so they could do it, but it was brilliant, I saw it was on Zoom, I said, hey, yes,
Yeah, that's great.
It's brilliant.
Some people might even say that it's actually easier for the public to contribute, you know, like in.
Right, because, well, like Janet tonight had Chuck, you know.
And
No, but I meant like, you know, constituents. I'm not
Yeah,
talking
yes,
about-
but constituents as well have that same issue with the childcare, but, you know, Janet
So, it sounds like though we don't have the technology now, right? So we'd have to do hybrid or in person entirely, right? Is that what you're?
we'd have to do either in person or virtual entirely,
Right.
yes.
So for the Pear Tree Working Group, we did a jury-rigged hybrid. We just passed my laptop around. And it wasn't perfect, but it certainly worked. So, anyway, I'm fine either way.
Yeah. But it sounds like that might give people some flexibility. Yeah, some
I think we
flexibility.
could get more people overall.
I do too.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yep,
And
yeah.
that's
And I'm not really proposing I want to go back to virtual forever, because I really like seeing you guys, and I think there's the benefit of the relationships, but I'm also sensitive to the summer, and especially this summer when, I know myself, I mean, we want to have more flexibility.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm okay with going virtual for the summer meetings.
Yeah, maybe
That would be June, July.
Maybe June.
Possibly August, maybe not August.
And maybe I'm hoping we don't need August, so.
We never used to have August
Yeah,
meetings,
I
that's
think-
for sure. Like they don't have
Last
August
year we
meetings.
skipped it, yeah.
In RTM.
The year
like-
before was good.
I don't know, so, okay, that's really the only thing I want to check with people.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I think we can take a motion to
Lori,
adjourn.
can I just give a quick shout out and do something real quick? It'll take like 2 minutes. All right, I want to shout out, thank you to Pam, Gary, and to our wonderful Jamie Gore, who's gone, but along with the amazing Gnome and Fairy Solid Woods program that they did, we did, Community Fund of Darien did Mission Possible. This weekend, you probably saw the signs all over promoting it, and so I co-chaired that with someone, I'm not tied to the exact order or anything, but they just asked me to help co-chair. It was so much fun, and one of the things I did was I talked to them, and particularly Jamie before, and I said, my goal is to try and have a park, at least missions in every single park and beach, and in many of them we had multiple ones. So we also had missions at stores, so we drove traffic into the stores, which was great, into Post 53 with the video, taught them how to, they didn't do it, they watched how to do this. The Darien, Museum of Darien agreed to be open on Saturday. They're normally not open, so for 3 hours they were open, and they were able to have a lot of people come in and see their exhibits and also answer questions. So I just want to tell you some of the questions, some of the ones that we did that are tied to Parks and Rec. So unveil the trail, that's the heritage marker that you just talked about. So one was that they had to answer 1 out of 3 where the heritage trails are, markers are, and another clue was go and take a photo. So there were different points, like if it was just something that you Google, you got 100 points. You have to go and take a photo of it, it was like 450, and we worked our way up. So that was one. Batter up, we had questions, so we drove them to McGuan, traffic to McGuan, right? And what's the name of the what is the name of the baseball, program there for special needs? And it was Challenger. And at that time, while we did it, we said, take a picture in front of, the great concession stand that has the great best French fries or whatever. We did, this was a shout out to Jamie, we did Darien Diggs Dogs, what's the Parks and Rec mascot?
Someone actually texted me.
Did they ask you?
They did. I was like, why would they need to know? And they asked me, I'm like, it's Peanut.
The new harbor master, and it was John Peanut. We did Life's a Beach, so there was like building sandcastles at Weed Beach, and then another thing at Pear Tree Beach, monkey around hanging from the monkey bars, and it was people of all ages. So there was a group of ladies, there were 5 of them, they were dressed in pink with pink cowboy hats. They were hysterical walking through town, people were stopping.
Oh, I work at Person to Person, and they were there for the food drive.
Delivering stuff.
It was hysterical.
Right, they were great. But so it was parents, it was particularly after Darien has had such a, we've had a tough time the last 6 weeks. It was so meaningful to have people of all ages, kids, high school teams, parents. It was fun. Into spring, so they took pictures at different parks. Cherry Lawn was amazing with their cherry blossoms.
Beautiful.
Sledding into spring. People had to bring like some kind of sled and do a video. Keep it local. Tree canopy. By the way, do you know what the tree of Connecticut is? Anybody? Red maple. Is the tree. There was a quiz about tulips at Cherry Lawn that tied into the gardens there. We did Room with a View, so go and take a sunset picture at Pear Tree Point, walk of art, do a drawing at Highland Farms. So there were kids all doing chalk. Did you do chalk drawings?
Patty, you should have.
When I walked.
Patty, you should have applied for the job.
I told
Storywalk, when they presented that was one of our tiebreakers. So we did tiebreakers in the last hour, and we had included the Storywalk, and they had to figure it out. All I said was, a Storywalk at one of the parks, and it was at Cherry Lawn, so it was great. Hoop rings, so take a video of shooting hoops at the basketball court there. Take the plunge. 1,000 points to do the polar bear plunge. You had kids that were like this big doing it, and then you had like a mom going in her pink outfit. I'm almost done. Chris Filmer gave us 3 clues for Dunlap and Sellex and for DCA. And then you had to sing your favorite camp song around the campfire and behind the nature center there. That was hysterical, them trying to sing Kumbaya or remember what their favorite song was. And the more tiebreakers were Pollinator Pathway, so we were promoting that, a pickleball thing, and then, we definitely did clues in, because I saw you on that Sunday, we did clues at Sellex and Dunlap where they had to go in and take pictures of the Fairyland, and then also take a photo in front of a small animal shelter area that was built for like the bunnies, so that was cute. And then the final thing that I wanted to say, which I think is meaningful, was I did a typewriter at the last minute for go to find out where the Karen Diller bench is.
That's great, I just saw that.
So. Yeah,
it's great. It looks really attractive there.
It was so much fun, and I
thought it was really well done.
I'm not on their exec board or anything, but I would recommend it. Might be something we want to do and join, because we got so many amazing emails from parents, kids, adults. It was a positive, as these young ladies were talking about, everybody's been in front of their phone or playing Xbox. They were out, and it was full on from Friday to 3 to Sunday to 3. Highly competitive, but really, really fun. I know. I was like, Sunday night, I was like,
toast.
I'm going to I need a serious glass of wine, no raisins. Right.
Good job.
So anyways, thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Great job.
You were, helpful, so we appreciate it.
Great, that's awesome.
Thank you. All right, are we ready for a motion to adjourn? Susan? Kathy? All in favor?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we're going to be short tonight.